Good day, everyone, and welcome to Obidient Family TV. The program is Hope Alive. Yes, there is hope, and the new Nigeria is certainly possible. Now, good morning, afternoon, and evening, depending your time zone. Today, we have come to have a discussion on what is happening in Nigeria. And coming top on the list of what we have is the hashtag Operation Rescue Nigeria from General Oluchi. We'll be sharing some of those things that are coming out from one of our own, General Oluchi, who happens to, start this very particular campaign, both online and offline, that is tagged Operation Rescue Nigeria. And also coming at this very hour, we'll be having a conversation on the His Excellency P2B's statements about the Obidient family and the Obidient movement issues that are actually bringing about different issues coming out from the discussion. As he said that he has met some people at the while in the airport who sought to know whether his move is to moving from Labour Party off Labour Party, but he reaffirmed his commitment to the Labour Party, and that's will be bringing about right now. So we know that he has firmly stated that he has no plans to leave the Labour Party. In a statement he issued, P2B addressed the remarks about the Obidient Movement Directorate, which was established by the party's national chairman, Julius Abure. In a series of posts on X, P2B reiterated his loyalty to the Labour Party, and he made, in quote, he said, "For the avoidance of doubt, I remain committed to Labour Party as a member. This is my definitive response to all Nigerians who may be in doubt about my party affiliation in light of the recent reports and conflicting interpretations of the recent political expressions." And in quote, that is what P2B has addressed in his post. Now let's even take the post. But before we take the post, let me introduce the people that will be talking all of this with me in the studio. I have Divine Dons always by my side here to make justice to some of these things that are happening in Nigeria, and also author Chidi, who is also having this very discussion with me at this very hour.
A very warm welcome, and thank you for joining us on this broadcast. Let us have these conversations.
Welcome. Enjoy the show with us today.
All right. While you are enjoying the show with us, please do not hesitate to like and share so that other Obedients will know that we are live, and also to feel the points where these things are coming from. So let's take His Excellency's post on X, wherein he expressed and reaffirmed his commitment to the Labour Party. He said that I've just been confronted by a journalist at Abuja Airport wanting to know if my statement on Obidient movement yesterday is a signal of my leaving the Labour Party. For the attention of all those holding such an impression, and for the general public, I remain a faithful and committed, loyal member of the Labour Party. Indeed, as a leader of the party, my aspiration and desire working closely with other leaders is to reconcile our valued members and partner with like minds and parties all over the country to build a strong, better party that will catalyze and commence the rebuilding of a new Nigeria. My statement yesterday was intended to clarify some issues that are of concern to our teaming supporters, some of whom are not members of any political party, but are desirous for a new Nigeria. Our goal and aspiration remains that a new Nigeria is possible. Signed, PO. This is coming in the wake of that controversy trailing that we, of course, that we deliberated on yesterday. And I believe that a lot of people are still confused about the whole thing. And we also have, rumor mongers and people who want to, unquote, that are called mischief makers who wish to misinterpret the whole thing, and that's why this very clarification. You know, when you are walking through the airport terminal and you're prominent or somebody like His Excellency P2B, people tend to just come to you, and you know he doesn't walk away. He will want to attend, and hearing that, he want to you know, confront it. And there is also insinuations, but those are coming from the other function of Arabambi, you understand,
yes,
who are saying that the P2B has intentions of jumping to PDP, or rather that he has moved to the PDP and they are going to forestall that from happening and all of that. But this clarification, you know, keeps that to rest. At least all those speculation would have ended. Or what are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's very self-explanatory what he said, basically. He's basically just telling them that the fact that he came out to give a disclaimer concerning the broader Obidient movement has nothing to do with his party affiliations. He's just saying he's still a loyal and committed member of the Labour Party, but at the same time, he just needed to clarify some things that were going on politically, because some people wanted to, you know, make the Obidient movement something that is, you know, party affiliated. And His Excellency just wanted to separate the broader Obidient movement from, you know, being relegated or being tied to one particular political party, because he's saying a lot of Obedients don't necessarily identify with a political party in Nigeria. And so he's just saying that the Obedient movement is bigger than any form of party structure or religious affiliation. And at the same time, this is not also him saying he's leaving the Labour Party. Two truths can coexist. He's saying the Obedient movement is not, you know, subject to any party structure, but at the same time, as a politician, he's saying he's still a very loyal member of
the Labour Party. Yeah, thank you on that. You know, some people get it from another perspective, and also they feel the way you also present it, you know, so that it can sink in.
Right.
But I think I go with that. Clearly, he's saying, I'm still a Labour Party, and we'll keep moving on. I mean, but also coming to you, if His Excellency P2B decides that he wants to go to another party, it's not the controversy that is making him move away otherwise. And also the controversy that are already in Labour Party could be sorted out even before that election. As I heard Arabambi, like I mentioned earlier, in Channels Television this morning, ranting a whole lot of things, you know. That is the Papa Alamidi Papi function of this, which, of course, I think the Court of Appeal has read that to rest that Abure remains the chairman. So let's disregard that very part of the statement and basically trying to see how we can be able to, you know, our viewers to understand that P2B clearly is saying, I'm still in Labour Party and I am not out of, and I'm keeping my commitment to Labour Party.
Obviously, he has to stay loyal to the party, especially now. And a lot of that also has to depend on the way Labour Party goes about these issues. But I feel at the same time, the way he held a strong grip on the Obidient movement by making that statement is also important, because there was obviously movements from the Labour Party quarters to encroach into the Obidient movement and the Obidient ideology, which he had to step on. So Obidient, P2B, and Labour Party, there are three distinct features that are not mutually exclusive. They function hand in hand. At the same time, they can be you know, individually separated from each other. And that is what His Excellency Mr. P2B just did. Also coming out today to say that he is still a loyal member and a leader of Labour Party and still working with the leadership. So kudos to him for making more clarifications on that. All right.
I think with that, moving on off this, let's get this thing on what is happening in Nigeria, minimum wage. Excuse me. The minimum wage deadlock has been, you know, it's just something on, and let me start with you, Divine. We have been talking about this, like yesterday, there was a report that came on about 105,000 allegedly, you know, excuse me,
sorry,
brought in, that is a proposal. But I guess Labour has come out to say that it's not before their table. They have not seen such an amount that came out, and they are not, you know, willing to talk on that. Right. Let's even, first of all, before we get into that, let's get the talk that the president of the NLC, Joe Ajero, where he said that 105,000 naira as proposed has not come before the NLC, and he will be unwilling to discuss on that. But let's hear how he positioned all of these things. We'll come back. We know go tell.
Don't make you smile.
Smile for what did they tell you they did?
So where are you going to go? Where are you going to go now? They say meet you still there.
Anything? There's a committee working.
Okay, I mean just stand tomorrow so we get stable shots.
Get story every day.
Yeah, because you are popular. You are the most popular man in Nigeria. Tell us what's happening in there and what's the hope for.
The committee is still working now. So when they finish, Nigerians will get a report.
Have they given you a figure?
Not yet.
What about the templates that the president gave them 48 hours to produce?
Maybe they are going to present it in the committee.
When didn't they present it today?
They didn't present it to the committee of the House. They are presenting it to the committee of the House.
Okay, later today or tomorrow?
They have entered now. You can see them moving in.
So you are expecting, you are going to wait for them to come out and make a presentation to you?
To the General House.
General House, okay.
For deliberation.
Nice.
Wow.
Thank you.
Are we certain that by tomorrow everything should be okay?
That's a wish for all of us. That's our prayer.
But based on the feelers from today's meeting, what's
are you getting close to your expectations?
I just reported to you what happened. I don't know.
Presi, we have rumor that there is a proposal of 405,000. Do you have any? Did you hear anything like that, or can you confirm anything?
It's not before the trade unions. Such information is not before, either officially or unofficially. So we are still at our position before now. I know that government having not presented it, is still at their position. So until it's made public and discussed, you can't say government has a position.
We will get the updates when we finalize. We are still on the talks. So we'll tell you when it comes. Why do you want to ask something that it's not necessary? You will hear us when we are done.
Since the conversation is some positive.
Why do we have to?
Because you came out smiling.
Oh, I shouldn't smile.
So the meeting continues.
Wake of the 105 as proposed. But we'll get to the root of this very matter. We believe that there's no smoke without fire in Nigeria. 105, we get to it. As you recall, that 3 days after suspending this very strike action and the expiration of the 48-hour deadline, Chief Bola Tinubu handed out to the Minister of Finance, our coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, and charged him to get out a figure which we proposed as a minimum wage. Well, as we see from this very video, that is the President Joe Ajero from NLC who disclosed that to the newsmen that this very tripartite committee that discussed the minimum wage that ended at deadlock of 60,000 earlier as rejected by this organization, that they have not gotten any other thing outside of what they had previously. So today being Friday, they have not heard of anything that has to do with 105,000. They are still waiting, and their actions remain the same. Let me get your inputs on this. Yes, yesterday we got the report of 105, but we know in Nigeria there's no smoke without fire. So even when they don't want to comment like the other, I think the minister, the Nkiruka, who says that why are you asking a relevant question? These are to newsmen. I believe that she should be able to tell them that it's either 105 or so. But maybe they are waiting for Tinubu to announce what they have all agreed on.
Oh, I think that is what it is. They don't want to, go before or like be fast, or rather preempt anybody. Basically, they want it to be very like they want to come out generally and say it. And I understand probably that's why behind the scenes they are all like murmuring. They don't want to come out and tell Nigerians what exactly it is that they've agreed on, because they don't want Nigerians to particularly be, excited or disappointed if the actual figure comes out and is something below their expectations. But I'm just saying, concerning the 105,000, if it is true, I still think it is way, way, way beyond the current economic realities, like what it can handle. So I'm thinking, personally, we should be talking at least 180 to 200,000 for starters, because 105,000 naira is not really going to reflect or be able to do anything for a family of 4 in this current economy. And to be honest, 105,000 is really not, is particularly, I think it's not going to cut it for the average Nigerian family. So I think the Nigerian labor should not settle for the 105,000. Matter of fact, I think they should keep going and pressing till they get at least 200,000 naira.
Yes, I think I agree with you on that. Then coming to you, Otto, I want you to look at this very direction of we know that the people that are working in Senate, in Nigerian Senate, House of Assembly, or most of them at the top, they receive what they call hazard allowance. They receive all manner of allowances. And there is something called hardship allowance. So since Tinubu has come into and brought us in this hopelessness, and we can see that hardship, he agreed that there is hardship in Nigeria. Why can't these workers also have hardship allowance embedded in whatever thing that they want to pay them, so while they are dealing with the hardship, they know that they are being paid an allowance of hardship? What are your thoughts?
Well, it's terrible. Hardship allowance, by the way, is 1.2 million per month.
That is for the senators. I mean, they could do 30,000 naira for
yes.
the minimum.
So that is what is currently pegged at. So it shows you the true picture. Because when we come out and say, when people say that this thing, we are the direct, people who are being hurt by, both the industrial action, both the subsidy removal, all manner of hardships in this country.
Well, let me interrupt you. The senators receive 1.2 million naira as hardship allowance. Yes. Do you really believe that the senators have any kind of hardship with them?
None whatsoever.
So that's why my question again is, shouldn't the average Nigerian worker receive a hardship allowance, because everybody agreed that there is hardship?
Obviously.
So please, let's take it from there.
I mean, it's common. It is something that is supposed to be there. The common Nigerian should receive hardship allowance. But in a broader perspective, it's not even about the hardship allowance, because when you look at all the allowances being marshaled out to these officers, you understand that the cost is enormous. We are running into billions of naira. And so it boils down to cutting costs. It boils down to cutting costs, which is what His Excellency Mr. Peter has always been hampering on during his campaign. So yes, if they are getting hardship allowance, we should be getting hardship allowance. But then, in a broader perspective, there's a serious need for costs to be mitigated to the barest minimum, because this money is obviously going to them, and then they are telling us that it is not even going to be feasible to pay workers 100 or 200,000 naira per month. So the indices are not adding up. There's a lot of controversies around those figures. All
right, but before we get off this very topic, I didn't bring this to your attention, which is Nigerians at this very time, hardship is everywhere. Right. You are feeling it, I'm feeling it, and every other person in the street is feeling it. Now, for the people who are actually working for the government and having been brought yet into this hardship, it's not of their own doing, and it's not of their own creation. Right. That the hardship is here, but it's called Tinubu's hardship. Don't you think that Nigerians deserve, even all Nigerians deserve to have a hardship allowance being given out, not just to familyhood, but individually, every month? Let everybody receive hardship allowance.
Well, that is actually something anybody would expect from a sane government, seeing that they were the ones that, plunged us into the current harsh economic realities that we are in. But we can see even the 75,000 naira they said they were going to give Nigerians because of hardship. There's barely anybody I know personally that can, attest to the fact that they received this 75,000 naira. And the funny thing is there's a possibility that this money was like taken away from the Federation account and it was allocated, but Nigerians did not get to use it. So truly, if there's anybody that deserves a hardship allowance, it's Nigerians, it is, the layman, because, the senators sitting in that assembly have nothing to do with hardship, let's be very honest. They get wardrobe allowance, they get allowance for even the most mundane things. We had the recent reports that said over 908 something billion naira was what Nigerian governors spent on just refreshments over the past couple of months in this 2024. And so we know that the current reality of hardship, they are far from it, they are so detached from it. As a matter of fact, they know nothing about what it means to actually endure some kind of suffering or hardship. So when we talk about hardship allowance, it makes sense that the people who are receiving this hardship allowance are Nigerians, because we are the ones bearing the brunt of the foolish, or rather the anti-people policies they make in the National Assembly. But we see that that's not the case here, and instead of Nigerians getting the allowance for hardship, they are giving it to people who are already richer and don't possibly need this money.
Okay, we'll expand more on this, but let me get us into another trending news that is going around the corner, that the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, has lamented that the wage increase demand being made by organized labor are not realistic. Of course, Akume said this in Abuja just yesterday during a meeting with the National Executive Council of the Christian Association of Nigeria. He was heard saying that a whole lot of things concerning having 4 drivers and he can't afford to pay them. Now, George Akume is a former, let's be honest and understand this. George Akume is a former Benue State governor who has served different terms in office and who has accumulated wealth. I mean, I'm talking about stealing of state funds, because there's no governor except Peter who has left office without making so much money, enriching themselves and all of that. Now, according to him, paying a minimum wage of 100,000 naira to his drivers will be a difficult responsibility. This is coming. Let me quote him. He said, "I can't afford to pay my driver 100,000 because they are 4. Akume is now talking to people. He has 4 drivers. This is the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, the top man on the job, who has 4 drivers. Well, he decried the demands made by the organized labor. And then where do we get the money from? Wait. A report had earlier stated that Akume said that the organized labor committed treason by shutting down the national grid during the nationwide strike. Well, let's get that into consideration. First of all, George Akume is a former governor. Most of the people who are here, people who have tested power, right, people who are not hungry. You understand? These are people who had actually stolen from the people. And for him to come out saying he has 4 drivers, let me even get to you first. A person who is the secretary to the government of the federation, first of all, his drivers are being paid by the federal government. He has official drivers that are attached to him. And I know that federal government would have attached between 3 or 5 drivers that will work with him as an SSG officially. Now, if he's having 4 extra drivers, that will be making them 9 or 10 drivers that he has. So either 5 from federal government, and then he has his own 4. And this man has the infantry to open his mouth in a congregation of Christians to tell them that he cannot afford 100,000 naira to pay 4 drivers that he employed. Don't you think, let me even get your own view. But for mine, if he does not need 4 drivers, why employ them in the first instance? 400,000 for a man who would have amassed billions. Your thoughts, please.
Well, it's funny because for me, these guys are joking with Nigerians. they are playing with our intelligence. Yeah, they are for him to even be in that meeting and make that kind of statement is an insult, is an affront on the intelligence of Nigerians. It's a very terrible statement for a man of his station in life to make. So for me, I don't even want to consider if he needs 4 drivers or needs 1 driver or if he needs 2 drivers. It's terrible, and it shows the amount of disrespect and the amount of hate and the kind of hardship that these people want to keep subjecting Nigerians to.
Okay, let's take your own perspective, Divine. If you can't afford to pay 4 drivers, why employ 4 drivers in the first place? Then the second thing is, like I mentioned, this man has been probably a 2-time governor who has amassed wealth. You understand me? So even if he has 10 drivers, he should be able to pay them comfortably.
Right. Well, let me start by saying that I think he probably was, I think that's a joke, basically, for him to say he cannot afford 400,000 naira, monthly salary for his staffs. I think it's very laughable. Not because I'm trying to, watch his pockets, because I'm not particularly in his pocket, but if we're taking into consideration the fact that he has been, a former governor and still the current, Secretary General to the Federation, I don't think he should be having conversations about not being able to afford 100,000 naira for 4 drivers. And also, if he's being very, would I say, Christian-like in his thinking, because I mean, he addressed Christians. This was the people he was talking to. So I'm assuming he is a Christian, right? If he was even trying to be Christian-like for a minute, he will realize that 100,000 in the grand scheme of things cannot really do much for a family man, right? And so if you have 4 drivers, matter of fact, you should be having conversations on how to make their salaries, greater, so that they'll be able to accommodate the expenses that they make every day, considering that the government you're supporting and the government in which you're part of, being a stakeholder in, is responsible for the hardship Nigerians face. You should not be talking about 100,000 being too much for you to pay. You should be looking for ways to add to their money to make sure they are able to fend for themselves and their families. Because when you think about it, 100,000 naira, what is the most it can do for you? By the time you add food, electricity bills, after all, they removed the electricity subsidy and increased the tariff rate. So I don't think it is very, very, considerate of him to even say something like this. The pity he's trying to gather from Nigerians is not going to work, because we know if for anything, he's more than capable of paying them. And the fact that he's even complaining about it just tells a lot about how he is as a person, rather.
All right, so if you know what your thoughts are on this very thing, please go to indulge us by going to the comment section. Do you think that the secretary to the federal government lamenting he's unable to pay his driver is something he can do? Or you think he may not be able to pay his drivers? But our opinion here is that if he is not able to pay his domestic staff, he should stop hiring them. He should probably marry more wives, or as the case might be, so that they will be, taking care of the house. So you put your own comments there, what you feel he should do. But if you can't afford domestic staff, please do not hire them. But if you do, pay them to be able to take care of their families and all of that. Now, let's move to other things that are also trending. We understand that a lot is happening in Edo State right now, as Obaseki is hitting hard on Labour Party's Apata, whom has lamented that his campaign billboards are being removed from different locations in Edo State. But first, let's take a listen to what Apata has to say about these billboards, then we'll come back for the discussion.
I will do my due diligence before I make any allegations. I'm a lawyer and I've been one for 30 years, right? During the primaries, same thing happened. Right after the primaries, my balls were being taken down all over the city, right? Now that INEC has lifted the ban on campaigns, we started installing our boards all over Benin City. I just returned from Lagos yesterday, only for me to hear that boards that we have just started installing around Benin are being taken down again. There's a board at the Stadium Road, Akenzua Junction, 2-sided board. One side is an ad from another organization, one side is an ad from my campaign. Only mine was taken down. Now we are on the Kenwan Road by the Uniben main gate. I had a two-sided board right here, taken down by the Oredo Local Government Council. I sent a message to the chairman today, Mr. Obaseki, who happens to be a brother or cousin or relative of the governor. And I told him that my boards are being taken down. There is an individual in the Oredo Local Government called Charles Egariva. He's supposed to be a member of the Revenue Department. He's the one who sent messages to my billboard installers, telling them to take down the boards. I was even told that he had the temerity to suggest that the board on Akenzua is a route that the governor takes regularly. So we must take my board down because the governor takes that route regularly. It is ridiculous. This is the kind of stunt that this government pulls all the time. We are going into a contest. The playing field should be level. Look behind. You can see a board belonging to the NNPP. It's standing. And it's not only this location. We have just received information from Ikpobaoha local government that our board, the board that we just installed on Ramat Park, we must take it down. Meanwhile, PDP candidate, his board is all over the place. We are even told I'm going towards Uselu Lagos Road now. Same problem. They are taking down my boards. And these things cost money, effort, and time. What are they afraid of? So I am not here to complain. I don't complain. I'm here to issue a warning to those who are behind this, to Governor Obaseki and his minions. We are ready. These local government chairmen who are the product of a sham election, nothing happened on the 2nd of September. We know that they are illegal occupants of those seats. And they are coming now to pull down my billboards. Nobody has the monopoly of brigandage. Never. I'm not a pushover. Nobody will do this. They know. Nobody. That is why we are going from billboard to billboard of your Northeast local government. The chairman is Collins Ubewe. Took down my board at S&T, four-sided board that we paid millions of naira for. Took it down and blacklisted the board so that the board would not be given to us. I have similar incidents like that all over the city because they know that they are not the people's choice. But pulling down billboards will not faze me or my supporters. This election is a referendum. Enough of this nonsense. So I just want to put it on record that this is what is going on. I will not accept it. Never. I will not accept it. Never. So I have asked my contractors to put back the boards. All the boards that have been taken down, I've told them, and in the next 24 to 48 hours, the boards will be back up. And I dare them. I dare any of them to try it again.
Election is about contestation. You know, you have to contest an election to win. You see, Governor Obaseki is known for intimidation. You can see that there are other people around here. He didn't touch it. He knows that the man who is out here to win is Olumide Akpata. But this cannot intimidate us. But we are sending a warning, a very direct warning to the governor, that if you pull any people again, I personally will lead my squad and pull on the people because nobody has monopoly to violence. My name is Ultimate Equals.
We paid for this board, all four sides. We paid over 6 million naira for this board, all four sides. We put our ads, they took it down. We put it up again, they took it down. Then they now claim that they have blacklisted the board. Today, see, there's an ad there. Glenn Village. There's an ad there.
When people speak, definitely you will surely know the honest that is in them. So when the very day that I watched his interview, I was convinced that this man, he read me well for the people. And I pray, so shall it be. I see him here now. He's a man of the people. Without people, where you see him, you know that this man is a very simple man.
I'm running for the office of governor, and I intend to win. You will win with the help of the people. Yes. So we have to let the people know who we are and what we are. That is the whole essence. The law forbids the local government from doing what they are doing. The electoral law forbids them from doing what they are doing. They are trying to disadvantage me and my party. And we will resist it. We will resist it. I just want the public to know that this is what is happening in Edo State under the leadership of Governor Obaseki. And this will not be allowed to stand.
aspirant within Labour Party lamenting on what is happening to his billboards in Edo State. Let's take a discussion on this because I see that a lot of comments and reactions are coming from people. But I believe that this is a regular occurrence during elections in Nigeria.
Oh, my point is just that I'm tired of, Nigerian politicians playing politics in bad faith. It's meant to be like a good sport, right? You do your manifesto, you tell the people or make the people see reasons why they should vote for you, your party or your candidate. But, all these gimmicks of, using your power as an incumbent to actually remove people's billboards and, do stuff like that, I think it's really petty and it's unbecoming because these elections, the people have the final say at the end of it, right? These are the people that are meant to vote. The fact that you're removing billboard already shows a desperation or rather a threat that you're already feeling threatened. You should play your politics, do your campaign, and let the other party, do theirs so that the best man can win at the end of the day. And, speaking of, the people who actually have the voting power, the electorate, the people who are the, rural areas and in the grassroots levels, they probably are not even paying attention to these billboards. That is why grassroots, mobilization is very, very important. They're probably going to...
we believe that the Obedients are really behind that matter.
So basically, my point is just they need to stop playing politics in bad faith or playing politics or do or die. Do what you have to do, make your campaigns, let the other person campaign, and then let the best man win.
Yeah. So Otto, as you've heard from him, and he said he's not complaining, but he's giving a warning or sort of to Obaseki. But I think moving forward, he should focus on the grassroots structure of the Obedience in Edo State, try and see how he can be able to empower them, even reach out to the cooperative, because we believe that Obedient family cooperatives are already in Edo State. If you reach out to that very structure, make them stronger, and at the end of the day, Obaseki will be a sorry sight with his this. And again, I even saw talking about Obaseki and is it Egadaro, his anointed candidate. I saw them drinking. It was reported actually that they were drinking Dom Perignon, one of the drinks that cost about 500K. Yeah, and they were actually caught on camera, as the case might be. But that is not the discussion for now. We'll get back to why they are drinking Dom Perignon of 500K.
And
how many bottles has been drank, as the case might be. But especially like she envisioned that the people from the grassroots structure may not really see these billboards. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's a possibility. It is a 50-50 chance because in the rural areas there are also billboards there. Yes, of course, not removing the place of grassroots mobilization. But here's the thing. Billboard, is about psychology. It's about presence. And, when you're doing your grassroots mobilization, your people also want to, have a feel of you. When they are passing, they are seeing you. So most times, state governments especially, they come with a psychological way of, pulling down people's billboards, fixing up their own, so that the person can become less of a view in the eyes of the people. And like we are rightly saying, the people in the grassroots, some of them don't have access to the internet. And, these billboards become a way of them feeling their candidate, having a feel of their candidate. So, yes, of course, Edo State government is on its toes and, of course, running with tails in between legs at the presence of the Labour Party candidate, the person of Barrister Olumide Apata. But then, that being said, he should continue with his campaign and then, of course, not take the case lightly, because he's actually losing a lot of money. To have those structures put in place is a lot of money. So, all things being equal, focus, eyes on the ball, get the job done, and then don't pay too much attention to what the government is doing to distract him from the goal.
Okay, we have somebody in one of the platforms and comment section, which is Williams, who said the biggest problem in Edo State is INEC. He said, honesty is lacking. Obaseki will write election results to win. What are they doing about INEC worthiness? Well, Williams, we believe that INEC is always there to do what they do always, which is to help whoever is the highest bidder to rig election. However, it is for Apata to organize the obedience in Edo State, put them in a cooperative atmosphere, and also reach out to them in terms of their welfare, so that at the end of the day they could protect his votes or their own votes on that very day during the election. I believe that a structure of the obedience that is already existing in Edo State right now should be welcomed by Apata, the Labour Party's candidate in that election. So whoever is close to him, tell him there is already an existing platforms that is genuinely set up in Edo State, which is the Obidient Family Cooperative Society. They are already registered with the state government, and it is just for him to reach out to them and see how he can be able to bring them under his structure, and that will protect his vote at those various places. Because like he mentioned here, INEC rigging election is when you did not protect your vote at the polling unit.
True.
That is what we say that is going to have there. But as we want to go off from this segment of the show, I won't go out without letting you know that you can actually click on the link, WhatsApp link there, to join the Obidient Family Cooperative platform. It's a cooperative society platform wherein when you get there, you join your like-minded obedience in different local governments inside that very WhatsApp community, so that you could interact and engage other obedience who are already registered with their state government to form an entity doing business for each other and also holding on for each other. But before we go away, I will want us to listen to what Adiola had to say about what is happening in Nigeria. Credits to her, until we come back again this evening for the reports and other things that will be happening later today. Bye for now.
Because it shouldn't even come to workers going on strike before you will do the right thing. How can you be okay with civil servants being paid 30,000 naira a month when the bag of rice is like 70,000, 80,000 naira, while our government officials who are supposedly representing the people are living large? That is wickedness. Actually, that is witchcraft. To be a lawmaker in Nigeria, by the way, all you need is secondary school certificate. Yet, your basic salary is 2.5 million naira per month. Furniture allowance is 7.4 million per month. Who changes furniture every month? Newspaper allowance. Nobody is reading newspaper, by the way. But they still get 1.2 million naira per month to buy newspaper. And then they have wardrobe allowance, 621,000 every month. Recess allowance is 248,000 every month. It is different from leave allowance. What does that even mean? Another 248,000 per month. On top of that, they have accommodation allowance, 4.9 million every month. Is any one of them paying rent, sending me rent? Yet they are getting 4.9 million for accommodation every month. They have utilities allowance, 828,000 every month. Entertainment, 828,000 every month. And we are also paying for their personal assistant to 621,000 every month. And then they get vehicle maintenance allowance, 1.8 million. By the way, they also get 9.9 million every month to buy new vehicle. If they are buying new vehicles every month, should we also be paying another 1.1 million to maintain their vehicle? New vehicle, by the way, they are also getting severance gratuity, 1.8 million. And as if they have not insulted our intelligence enough, these lawmakers are also getting hardship allowance, 1.2 million naira every month. What hardship? What hardship are they facing? Now, despite all that ridiculous amount, all that ridiculous allowances, the money that they are given, which they are supposed to use to develop their constituencies, they are also pocketing. Many of them are also pocketing it. This year, by the way, they increased their constituency allowance. The senators increased their own from 200 million naira a year to some of them are now getting 400 million, some are getting 500 million. They call them senior senators. And many of them are still pocketing this money. that is meant for the development of their constituencies. So as if their own personal allowances are not enough. How can you not see that this is evil? Nigerians, by the way, you need to stop praying against those old women in your village, because these government officials are the real witches and wizards. And we've not talked about all the allowances that the ministers are getting, the governors are getting, the president, the vice president. We just found out that the president, the vice president, and the first lady have spent 8.6 billion, not million, billion naira just on traveling, local and foreign travels between January and March of this year. Alhaji Tinubu, is this what you had in mind when you said Emilio come? Also, we found out that 30 governors in Nigeria have spent 968 billion, again not million, billion, on refreshment in the first quarter of this year alone. The people that put them in office are getting paid 30,000 naira a month. And they're okay with that. Oh yeah, okay, where is my slippers? Don't beg me, darling. Because some of these officials, they need to, they need to be caned. By the way, Labour Union was asking for 494,000 as the new minimum wage per month. Tinubu said that they cannot afford it, that is too much. So now they are hoping that the president would approve at least 100,000 naira. Let us keep our fingers crossed. In the meantime, they have suspended the strike for 5 days until they reach an agreement with the government. My people, I don't think that Nigeria will get better until we drastically cut down the salaries and all these allowances of government officials. Let me know what you guys think, because obviously most of them are not going there to serve. They're going there for the money. Very, very sad.
Dear Nigerians, welcome to Operation Rescue Nigeria, an initiative born out of the urgent need to address the grave economic and social challenges facing our beloved nation. Nigeria is currently enduring one of the most severe economic crises in history. The rampant poverty and suffering experienced by the masses are direct consequences of years of bad governance and misguided policies. For too long, many of us have remained passive, allowing the political affairs that significantly impact our lives to unfold without any active involvement. There's fear of repression and violence, which has deterred many from taking to the streets to demand change. However, we can no longer afford to remain silent or inactive. The time has come for us to unite and take action to rescue Nigeria from the brink of collapse. Hashtag Operation Rescue Nigeria is an online campaign aimed at awakening the political consciousness of every Nigerian. Through this platform, we will disseminate vital information and educate our fellow citizens on the importance of active participation in the political process. Our campaign will begin online, leveraging WhatsApp groups and other social media platforms to spread our message far and wide. Our aim and objectives are awareness and education, to inform and educate Nigerians about the current state of the nation, the root cause of our economic challenges, and the role of governance in shaping the future. The next is mobilization, which is to unite Nigerians from all walks of life, encouraging active participation in the political process and fostering a sense of solidarity and collective responsibility. Next is advocacy for change. The advocate for good governance, transparency, accountability, and policies that prioritizes the welfare of the Nigerian people. Next is peaceful protest. To organize peaceful online and offline protests, amplifying our collective voice and demanding meaningful change from our leaders. The next is empowerment. To empower citizens with the knowledge and tools necessary to hold their leaders accountable and to actively contribute to the nation-building process. Therefore, we invite you to join us in this crucial movement so that together we can build a nation you'll be proud of for ourselves and future generations. Let us raise our voices, demand change, and work towards a brighter future for our country. Thank you for your commitment to this cause. Together, we will